Welcome to our current project, Architecting Heavily Dynamic Visualizations using Angular, NgRX, RXJS, and d3.js. I have organized this presentation into 4. First, I will explain its purpose. Second, I will compare this setup with that of React. Third, I will demonstrate how this visualization works, including all these controls down here. Finally, I will show the code which I used to make this project. I will begin by showing the distribution of median age by region, country, and year between 1950 and 2100. If we look at 1950, we will see that most countries, the median age in most countries was about 17 years. So there was a slight decline in median age between 1950 and 1970. But then from there, as you can see, the median age started rising. For Africa, the median age is expected to rise starting in 2020s all the way to 2100. But for regions like Europe and East Asia and Latin America and the Caribbean, it is expected to flatten at around 2060. That's when the median age is expected to reach the climax. So this visualization will allow an individual to compare the median age of a country in 1950 with a certain selected year. So for example, if we could take a country here like Puerto Rico, we can compare the median age in 1950 with that of 2100 or of any given year. So that was the purpose of this visualization, to enable an individual to observe how the median age and the population structure will vary over the years between 1950 and 2100 for any country. So this visualization differs from the one that I recently did in React in several aspects. So first, here I made this type table to look nicer. Then I added the labeling for the axis. I also added this title here, and I also made the buttons to look nicer. These controls down here, I made them to look nicer. So as you can see, the buttons for the React setup were not very nice. They were not loaded, and here we are missing the axis label, and this table here is also not properly styled. But the rest of the implementation or working is the same. So here, if I click start, then the animation starts playing. We can also pause this visualization and we can resume. When the visualization is playing, we can reverse like that. And we can reverse in both directions. If we are animating going forward and we click reverse, then the counting starts going backwards. If the counting is currently going backwards and we click reverse, then we go forward. We can also reset the visualization. And when we have reset the visualization, note that all these buttons here, pause, resume, reverse, reset, all these ones, they are disabled. But we can randomize an year here. And when we click randomize, notice that these buttons, we can now resume and we can reset. So if we click randomize when the animation is not running, then the visualization is not animating. But if we click randomize when the visualization is playing, okay, let's resume and we click randomize, then we will find that the animation will continue. If we click randomize when the visualization is animating, then the animation will continue. But if we click pause and randomize, then the visualization will not play unless we click resume. So if the visualization is playing, we can click restart, and the visualization will start playing from 1950. So let me demonstrate that again. We can restart and the visualization will start playing from 1950. So that's all about these buttons here. And also note that when the visualization is playing, we can also click this button here in order to close the sidebar. So now you can see the full visualization here. And when the sidebar is closed, all the functionalities also work pretty well. So we can navigate between the different tiers. We can resume, we can reverse, we can reset, we can randomize here. So all the functionalities work properly when we close the sidebar. So that is it about the buttons. Let me now explain about these inputs here. So I will click restart, and if I now select any year here, when the visualization is playing, for example 2020, then we are taken to 2020. We can also set any year. If we set a year that is greater than 2100, then we go to 2100 by default. So I will click start again and set a year like 1970 or 2010. So that's how basically this input here is working. We can input any year and the visualization will move to that selected year. So still let me click restart again and increase the interval to 5. You can see that the population pyramid here is rising very fast. If we click reverse, then it will play in the opposite direction using an interval of 5 years. So if I select an interval, for example, of 10 years and I click start, then the animation will be very quick because the interval is 10 years. So if I click here reset, then I reset to default. The default is year 1950, the interval is 1 year, and the speed is 100. And let me click start. I can also change the speed, so I can change the speed to 1 second, and then you will see that the animation will be very slow because it will be updating every second. So if I reduce to 500, then it is a bit faster. If I reduce to 1, then the minimum, as you can see here, there is an error. I can only input values that are between 100 and 1000 milliseconds. So if I input 1, then I'm using 100 milliseconds by default. If I use something like, okay, let me click restart. If I write here, for example, 3000 or a very huge number like 100,000, then the speed is reset to 1000 by default. So I can select a speed like 200 milliseconds. Can use 300 milliseconds. Oh, I have selected 3000 or not 300. So that is the visualization is updating every 300 milliseconds, but the default is 100 milliseconds. Then I will click restart again. When the visualization is playing and I hover over a country, then I'm stopping that animation and showing the population pyramid for the selected country in 1950. If I hover over any other country here, then we can see that the population pyramid for that country is showing in 1950. So I will click Japan here, or I will select Japan here and click start. So when the visualization is playing, I can adjust the speed. I can adjust the year, okay, not the speed but the year, using this slider here. I can also adjust the speed. So let me restart again. So I can adjust the speed using this interval slider here. Click restart. So that's how this interval here is doing. So if I click reverse, then the animation starts, but in the opposite direction. The animation goes in the opposite direction. Still, can select another country here like Spain and click start. So we need to reset these values here to default, and click reset and go to a country like Italy, click start. When the visualization is playing, we can click here area chart, and then we can see how the edge structure for Italy will evolve over the years. We can use this slider here to navigate between the different years. So if we can also click resume, and the area chart will play. So let's see how the area chart plays here. And when the animation for the area chart is still ongoing, we can go back to the population pyramid, and it will show for the most current year where we added the animation when we clicked or when we toggled between the two visualizations. Then you can see here that we are showing the median age in 1950, and we are comparing it with the current year. For example, in 1950 it was 27.55 years, but here in 2078 it will be 53.93 years. So we can also use these buttons here to load the next chunks of data, as you can see. Yeah, so we can navigate between the different chunks and the different years. So you can see that the pyramid there is drawing using nice transitions. So let me go to chunk 8. So where I found that the population pyramid for Oman to be a bit interesting. So this is the population pyramid for Oman. So you can see that around 2010s there was high immigration to Oman, making the male share to be larger, or the share of males to be larger than the females. So you can see how it was in 1950, how the population was in 2010s when the immigration to Oman started, and how it will be in 2100. So this is how the age structure in the country will be over the years, and we can also use these buttons to navigate between the different years. So we can also load the previous chunks, and when we load the previous chunks, we are showing the first country in the chunk by default. So we can go back to population pyramid and load the previous chunks. You can also notice that here we have a loader which is showing that the data is loading when we navigate between the different chunks. So that is it about the interface of this visualization. Let me now show my code. So I will click here, reset. So when we click start, we are dispatching an action to the Redux store or to the NgRX store in case of Angular. And then we are setting the state of the animation to running. That's when the animation starts. So when we click, okay, let me click restart. So that is when we click, okay, let me reset, when we click start, we are dispatching an action that is starting the visualization. When we click pause, we are dispatching another action that is pausing the visualization. The same when we click resume. The same when we click reverse. Same when we click reset, and also randomize. So anytime we are changing the year here, for example, we can change this year to 2020 or to 2030, and or we can increase the interval, for example, to 5. Then every time we change the value of the input or we click the buttons here, we are dispatching an action to the NgRX store, which is updating the visualization. So let me show you now my code, and I will start by showing the store. So this is the store. Here we have the different actions. So this is the start actions, the post action, the resume, reverse. So every time we click the buttons that I have just showed, or we typed a value in the input, then we are recording these actions here. So the visualization is continuously listening for an action. So when we select an action or we type a value, then we are recording these actions. And then in the reducer, this is the reducer that is updating the state of the visualization. So here we are specifying the actions, and then we are using these reducers here to update the state of the actions. For example, when we click start, we are setting the state of the visualization to running. The rest of the state remains the way it is. If we click pause, we are setting the running to false. The rest of the state remains the way it is. So these three dots and the state here, we are just copying the state the way it was, and just add here we are only changing the value that we are interested in. So the same is if we click reset, then we are setting the visualization to the initial state, and the initial state is here. The year is 1950, the running is false, the speed is 100, and the increase amount is 1. So every time we click a button or we type a value, then this is what is happening here. So we can set the speed, we can set the value, and this is the functionality for randomizing the year, set increase amount. So that is it. So these are just the under the store, these are just the selectors. We can select running, select speed, select increase by amount. So that is about the store. So all these all these three files here, the actions, the reducers, and the selectors, we are bringing them together here in the IDEX file, where now we are exporting them to the main file. The main file is here, the main TS, where we are setting where we are importing that file. Let me show you. We are importing the reducers from the App Store, and we are configuring them here. So that is it about the store. Then there is the services, the data visualization service. This is the service that we are using to read the data in chunks. We are reading the data in chunks every time we click load previous or load next. So this visualization service here is the one that is responsible for reading the data and updating the chunks. Then we have the interfaces, which are basically the contract for the objects. So for example, the area data interface, the area data objects have date, string, they have labor force, and they have these parameters here. So this is just showing the structure of the objects in our data. Then we have the components. The components, we have the area chart. This is the code that I used to draw the area chart. So this is the inputs in the area chart are data, selected country, and selected year. These are the main inputs for the for the area charts. Then we have the controls. So here we can see that this is just the CSS, which is just used for styling the visualization, and this is the HTML. So the most important thing here is the TypeScript file. So in the controls, here we have the different controls. Here we are handling the, if we click handle reset, if we click restart, if we randomize. So basically that's where now we are calling the, if we click this, for example, handle reset, we are dispatching to the store an action called reset. I've just showed you the store, and we are resetting the visualization. So all these actions here, handle resume, handle speed change, all these ones here, they are included in this HTML file here. For example, you can see this is the input for, this is the slider for the ear. You can see handle ear change. We can see is resume disabled, handle resume is resume disabled. We can see handle pause. So all those functionalities, they are included here in this HTML file. So that is the controls. Then we have the main content. In the main content, I'm bringing together the population pyramid and the area chart. And so here I'm just bringing the two visualizations, the area chart and the population pyramid, and I'm displaying them conditionally. That's why I have this button here, or this feature here on visualization change. So if I click this button here, I'm now toggling between the two visualization using, so this is the function that I'm calling there. Then we have the population pyramid. This is the code for the population pyramid. The population pyramid is taking data as an argument. It is taking a configuration, which is basically showing the configuration of the population pyramid in terms of, let's say, the width, the height, the styling, and such. Then we have the selected country, we have the selected year, a sidebar open, which is a boolean, and then we have the functionalities to draw the population pyramid. We are setting the dimension, setting elements, updating median age, and update chart. This function here, you can see the function update chart here. So when we are, this function is called every time we change the country or we change the year, or every time we change the data, the country or the year, we are calling this function. So update chart. So when we call the update chart, we are interrupting any ongoing transitions. We are setting a new transition, we are updating the labels, we are updating the current year data, we are setting up the median age. So all those things, they are happening every time we change the year. So you can see here we have ng on changes, which is basically listening for changes in the data or selected country. So we are calling that function. Here you can see update current chart, and in the update current chart, we are calling update chart, which I have just shown. So setting baseline, we are setting baseline data every time we call the update chart. We are drawing the baseline for the selected country. So all those functionalities, they are happening every time we change the year or the country or the data. So that is it about the population. Then we have the sidebar. This is the sidebar where we are displaying the country tables. It is taking direction as an input, current group, total groups, all these functionalities here. And we also have on-road next and on-road previous, where we are handling the state where we load the next country, or we load the previous countries. So that is the sidebar. And then we have the table. So this table is included in the sidebar. So this is just basically the table component, which is rendering the countries every time we change the data group. So I have explained about the interfaces. Those ones I explained that they are basically the contracts of our objects. They define what they define the properties and the methods our objects should contain. Then we have the services. I have explained about it, and the store. So I think that is it for this project, which was basically done using Angular. And then it would be important to say that this visualization was done using Angular. I have shown that. Then there is the NgRX, which is basically the state management tool for Angular. And then the RXJS is used for we are also using RXJS more so here in the services. We are using RxJS a lot to set up our animation, and also we are using it in loading the data. So RxJS is used heavily in Angular, and we have used it as well in this visualization too. Then we have d3. d3.js has been used to draw these graphs. These graphs have been drawn using d3.js. So I think that is it for this project. In the next project, will be called the remnants, in which I will write a paper, and then I will also include a video where I will detail its summary. I will summarize that paper in a video. So thank you for your time. So that is it. Thank you.